Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. We'll start with some Krishna bhajan. பெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா வேணுகோபாலனம்மா மண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா மாமதுரை நாதனம்மா வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா வேணுகோபாலனம்மா மண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா மாமதுரை நாதனம்மா வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா. தேவாதி தேவன் என்பார் தேவகியின் பாலன் என்பார் திரௌபதி சகாயன் என்பார் தேரோட்டும் கண்ணன் என்பார் வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா வேணுகோபாலனம்மா மண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா மாமதுரை நாதனம்மா வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா. கோகுலநாதன் என்பார் கோவிந்த பாலன் என்பார் கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் என்பார் கோபிகாலோலன் என்பார் வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா வேணுகோபாலனம்மா மண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா மாமதுரை நாதனம்மா வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா. பாரில் பணிந்த மயன் மன்னாதன் தேவன் என்பார் பாண்டுரங்கநாதன் என்பார் பதம் காட்டும் தூயன் என்பார் வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா வேணுகோபாலனம்மா மண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா மாமதுரை நாதனம்மா வெண்ணையுண்டு வாயனம்மா. நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் தினகர கராம்புஜம் நாராயணம் தேவ கணகங்கணதரம் நாராயணம் தினகர கராம்புஜம் நாராயணம் தேவ கணகங்கணதரம் நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் பங்கஜ விலோச்சனம் நாராயணம் பவ்ய சங்கட விமோச்சனம் நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் கருணாபயோநிதிம் நாராயணம் தேவ்ய சரணாகத நிதிம் நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் ஸ்ரீகண்ட சஹச்சரம் நாராயணம் பக்தவந்த புரச்சரம் நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் லக்ஷ்மி நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம் நாராயணம் பஜே நாராயணம். आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। तुम ही हो ब्रह्मा, तुम ही हो विष्णु, तुम ही हो ब्रह्मा, तुम ही हो विष्णु, तुम ही हो शंकर रूपा, तुम ही हो शंकर रूपा। आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। सृष्टि स्थिति लय स्वरूप तुम हो, सृष्टि स्थिति लय स्वरूप तुम हो, तुम हो अनादि रूपा, तुम हो अनादि रूपा। आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। अनाथ नाथ दीन बंधु, अनाथ नाथ दीन बंधु, तुम हो आनंद रूपा, तुम हो आनंद रूपा। आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। अज्ञान नाशक शरण संरक्षक, अज्ञान नाशक शरण संरक्षक, आत्मज्ञान प्रदाता, आत्मज्ञान प्रदाता। आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, आओ गुरुदेव दर्शन दीजो, तुम हो जगत के दाता, तुम हो जगत के दाता। सद्गुरु महाराज की जय।
Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om everybody. Let us join in doing our invocation mantra. Om. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrinuyam Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangai Stushtvagam Sastanubhi Yashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati Didhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So, just to give a brief summary of where we are and what exactly this Upanishad is doing. A very simple thing. There is one reality, it is called Ekam, Kevala, that one without a second. It is that reality which is everything, including that reality is manifested as myself also and all things, all of us, right? It's manifested as everything in this universe. But that one reality manifested as this variety, and amongst the variety, the jiva, this jiva is not cognizant of this fact. This jiva is so taken up with the variety, consumed by all the various things in this world, the jiva forgets his oneness with that reality. And what is required for that jiva to realize his oneness with that reality is sadhana. And amongst these sadhanas, so many types are there. The greatest sadhana is meditation. So meditation is really what is going on here. And in that meditation, there are various aids, techniques, and things that we can use, you see. So that is what is now given briefly in the next verse, which we are supposed to see. This will be number 11, I think, in this book. Okay, so now I will chant this number 11 and then we'll come to this meaning and all. Let us see. Atmanam aranim kritva.
Atmanam aranim kritva.
Pranavam cha uttararini.
Pranavam chottararini.
This one is split up in this book. Pranavam chottararini.
Pranavam chottararini.
Shortni?
Shortly.
Huh?
Shortly.
There are some little mistakes in. I got this off some of those websites because Chinmay one is too small for me to see, you know. So I'll chant that again. Pranavam chottararinam.
Pranavam chottararinam.
Jnanam nirmathanabhyasat.
Jnana nirmatanam bhyasat.
Jnana or jnanam? Jnana nirmathanabhyasat.
Jnana nirmatanabhyasat.
Pasham dahati panditaha.
Vasham dati pandita.
See, if you see that last phrase, Pasham dahati panditaha, the wise person who previously was called as Muni, means I told you is a seeker, one who is on this path, one who is very serious about enlightenment, like that, right? Wise person, Pandit, knowledgeable person, that kind of thing. Pasham dahati, he burns away all his ties to this world, all his bondages to this world. Pasham dahati. All his clinging ons and so many things he burns away. And how? Jnana nirmathana abhyasat. By the abhyas or practice of the churning of knowledge. Practice of the churning of knowledge. So the first thing, if we are going to burn all our ties, all our connections, or all our bondages, actually the better word is bondage. If we are going to burn away our bondage, then we have to do abhyas. Abhyas means practice. But which practice? Not to practice tennis. Practicing tennis will not burn away our bondage or snap our bondage. No. Jnana mathana. And jnana mathana, Mathana means, churning like this. When you churn that milk to make that butter, that kind of churn that curd to make that butter. That's called mathana. So it means to say again and again, I have to go over like this, all the basic Vedantic principles in my mind. That is why, it is prescribed that we memorize some of these things, because let us say when you are driving, now driving has become everybody's second nature. That is the time people find to do so many other things, isn't it? While driving, you complete so many other tasks while driving, and now you have this little earpiece, hand-free, and all the different things there, Bluetooth. That word confused me for many years, Bluetooth. There's no blue and another tooth also. You know what it is. So now we have come up with all of these modern gadgets, or your car has this, Bluetooth and everything. So you can do so many other things. Well, best thing is you memorize some verses. What people do is usually they listen to some satsang lecture or something in their car. But the better thing is memorize that verse. You don't need many verses, You memorize one or two. And there you can do jnana nirmatana. You go on churning those words in your mind, thinking about the meaning of those words and how, see, not only the meaning of the word as a word, but the meaning of the word as it relates to me. This is a very important thing. It is only an intellectual exercise to know the meaning of this word and this word, how this word is connected to this word. That is only an intellectual thing. But when I say nirmatana, jnana nirmatana, means I should know the meaning of bondage, for instance, here. It is pasham, ropes of bondage. Asha pasha, Bhagavan talks about in Bhaja Govindam. All the ropes of hopes. So I'm hoping. So my mind is tied to the result. And I'm hoping that result will come. So each word we think like that, But do I do that? It's not just knowing the meaning. Asha pasha, I know the meaning. And it sounds good also. I can sing it. This is not what is meant. Do I have hopes, ropes of hopes? Is my mind tied to future? And how strongly? And in all of that, is there mumukshutvam? Do I have desire for mukti? So now, whatever jnana is taught in the scriptures there, and one should have mumukshutvam, I am asking my question, do I have mumukshutvam? How strong is it if I have? If I don't have, what should I do to have? Like that. So, and then Bhagavan gives. I should see about all the defects. Dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Dukkha dosha anudarshanam. I should now think about that verse. Oh, how this world is filled with so many this thing, that thing. So just one word, pasha, when I see in this verse, that pasha will take my mind into all of the knowledge which the scriptures have given, which all the rishis have given, like that. So it's called jnana nirmatana. Go on churning all the knowledge in my mind, and as it relates to me, not other things and other people. Now, in the first line, a very, very wonderful imagery is used from the ancient days. What is that? In the old days, when they had to start a fire for doing fire rituals and all that, they did not have matchsticks like we have today, or lighter. So what they used to do, they used to make two wooden cups, a wooden cup like this, and another wooden cup like this, turned upside down. And in between this cup and this cup, there was another wooden piece, a straight piece. And in that wooden piece, they'll have a rope. And the rope will be wound around that middle piece, and then you can pull like this. So the rope will swivel at the middle piece. So that middle piece is rubbing on a wooden cup in the bottom, and it is also rubbing on a wooden cup on the top. And that bottom piece, they'll put some straw, dry straw. So with the friction of the two pieces of wood in the cup there, where there's friction, the heat will come and that friction will quickly ignite the straw. And from with ignited straw, then you put it there and you put some little twigs or some more straw and then some twigs, and then you get a fire. So that bottom cup is called a lower arani, and the upper cup is called a upper arani, like that. It's called arani. So that is used here. Atmanam aranim kritva pranavam cha uttararanam. So the individual ego here, Atmanam is an individual ego, means my individual antakarana, right? This antakarana is the lower arani, lower cup, and Om is the higher cup. And this lower cup and the higher cup, they are holding this pole here. It's called a jnanam. The pole in the middle will be jnana, knowledge. And also the knowledge is swiveling. So I should be chanting Om with the antakarana. That is the idea. With the antakarana, I chant Om, Om, Om. Then at the same time, in that antakarana, I am reflecting on the meaning of Om, Pranava. We call it Pranava Upasana. I am reflecting on Pranava, the Om. A is waking state, U is dream state, Ma is deep sleep state, and beyond the U, Ma, which make up the Om, is silence, and that silence is Turiya state. So this is what should be going on in my mind while I am chanting. So this is called a Jnana Nirmatana, churning, you see. So you mean, sometimes I am in a waking state like this now, then sometimes I am dreaming, some tiger is chasing me. Then other times I am deep sleep, snoring, I having sound sleep, and even the neighbors are hearing the sound. So I am having all these three states, and then sometimes I am there in total silence, there no thought. I am beyond, I mean, we may not have experience, but there is a state which is called a turiya, which is beyond all the three states. That is a state of absolute silence, state of no thought, state of no vrittis and all that. So that turiya, the supreme state of turiya, is what we are talking about here, the pure Satchitananda Brahma. So that is also part of me. It is that I am not disconnected from that or anything. It is, I cannot be here and Brahman is there. Then there will be duality, isn't it? If I am here, Brahman is there, there will be duality. Brahman and I, we are in one and the same place. But this thing has to be again and again churned in the mind. The antakarana has to again and again think of this. And now when I sit for meditation also, if the mind is wandering here and there, and the mind is not just being quiet, then I have to think like this. Let the antakarana say Om, Om, Om. And Om is connected to a whole body of knowledge, which I just briefly gave. A, U, Ma, which make up the Om, that is wake, dream, and deep sleep consecutively, like that, in the same order. And the Om, when I say Om, it tapers off and dies away into silence. That silence which follows the Om and which precedes the next Om, that silence is Turiya. Oh, so there is a state called as Turiya. Like this, I have to go on thinking. Nirmatana, Jnana Nirmatana, Abhyasat. See, Abhyas word means over and over and over. Practice makes perfect. One of the shortcoming of human being is what? He does one mala of japa and he said nothing happened. Nothing happened. Then he loses all courage and everything. And maybe this thing is not for me, you know. So with one mala, you have count Janmantara Krita Karma, how countless births we have done this, and we want to reverse that with one mala. all materialistic worldly karmas I have done for countless births. And one mala of spiritual practice, I want to reverse countless lifetimes of this worldliness. How it will happen, or how can it happen? That is like a little bird trying to empty the ocean like this. A little bird trying to, remember that story? Will he ever do that or what? So one mala will remove all our countless births of worldly karma. So I have to have strong mind and make a strong resolve to do this. Now, in next verse, and few verses which follow, is a very interesting topic. Now, let me tell you this topic. In this world, we have some things which are jada. Jada means inert. This thing is inert. This thing does not know this thing, because both are jada, and vice versa. This one does not know this one also, because this one does not have the capacity to know. Then second type of things in the world is called a chetan. Like you and I, we are called a chetan. Chetan means aware, consciousness, conscious, right? So there is jada and chetan. Now, we have been saying so far that there is only one reality which has become both. And please, I keep putting the word become in inverted commas. One reality has become, or one reality has manifested as both. One reality is appearing as both, jada and chetan. So in this reality which is made up of Sat, Chit, Ananda, or this reality which is characterized of Sat, Chit, Ananda, here it is manifesting only as Sat. Existence, because this exists or not? It exists. So it's manifesting here as Sat. Here it is manifesting as Sat, Chit, Ananda, because not only I exist, but I also am aware. Chit is also there. It means this upadhi is capable of expressing all three aspects of that Paramatma or Brahman. And this upadhi is only capable of expressing one, that is called Sat. You may want to say also Ananda, but really you cannot express any Ananda, you know. This watch cannot dance, I'm so happy. So the same reality is manifesting here as jada and manifesting here as jada and chetan at the same time. Okay. Now, how that happens? That happens in phases. And the first verse will tell why this jiva does not realize this. It has manifested as here, we say jiva. Jiva and living in a jada upadhi. Jiva living in a jada upadhi. And here just manifests as upadhi, no jiva. These are different words. Now, why we remain in that state all the time? Because the same reality is caught up in this matrix, as it were. And why the reality remains and doesn't become free? Here, this is given here. And then we'll see the evolution, how it comes into this state. Now see here, number 12. Sa eva maya paramohitatma.
Sa eva maya parimohitatma.
Sa eva maya parimohitatma.
Sa eva maya parimohitatma.
Shariramastha karoti sarvam.
Shariramastha karoti sarvam.
Stryanapadi vichitra bhogaihi.
Sriyannapanadi vichitra bhogaihi. Sriyannapadadi
vichitra bhogaihi.
स्त्रियन्नपानादि विचित्रभोगैः
स एव जाग्रत् परितृप्तिमेति.
स एव जाग्रत् परितृप्तिमेति.
Sa eva. So who's sa? Sa Brahma, Sa Shiva, Sa Indraha, Sogni. Just now we have seen na Sa. Is that same reality which is manifested Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Agni, Kala, everything we had seen just now. Sa. That reality. Paramatma, Brahman, whichever you want to call. Sa eva, that Brahman only. Maya parimohitatma. Shrouded by, veiled by its own Maya, or here parimohitatma is deluded by its own Maya. And the delusion is, I tell you, the difference between Brahman becoming deluded by his Maya and you and I becoming deluded by Maya. There's a big difference. Huh? See, if they tell me, see, I am Swami. So they tell me, okay, now we want you to act in this drama. You will be chore. They'll get the gun also, right? They give me a gun, and you now in that drama you become chore, thief. Take this gun. Now I willingly take the gun and I go there and I play the role of a thief, isn't it? That is called willingly. So in the drama, I go and I rob the bank, right? And willingly everything is being done. And in between, I don't like that director. Let us say, a director shouts at me and abuses me. Okay, enough of this drama business. I don't want to play this role anymore. Take your gun. Take it back. I am going home. So I willingly went in and I am willingly going. But I'm free. Freely I went in and freely I left. What about a real thief who is outside here now? These people who go on holding up banks. But it's not the same as taking up a role in a drama, isn't it? He's come with all his vasanas and all his purva sanskar and so many karmas of so many births, and he used to be one of the henchmen in some gang in previous birth, and then he was there with, you know, what do you call it? What is he? Robin Hood. He was there with Robin Hood that time also in that birth, and then he became this and that, and now he's a thief, right? And he actually proud, because these gangsters, they're proud, you know, oh, we did this, you know, we were the ones who pulled off that job, you know, and they're so proud of what they do also. So it is not the same thing like they willingly walked in and can willingly walk out. It's not so easy. Even when they go to prison and they're punished and everything, and they come back, there's a highest rate of recidivism everywhere. They still go back to do the same thing again, isn't it? So they are two different things. Now, it means he's born in that environment where there's stealing going on, this thing, that, and he naturally becomes a gangster. And he goes without against his will also. Like Duryodhana is telling to Bhagwan. He said, Prabhu, Janami dharma. I know it is dharma, but nachame pravritti. I cannot do this dharma. Janamya dharma. I know what is adharma. Nachame nivritti. But I cannot refrain from doing this adharma, even though I know what is this adharma. See, so he's forcefully pushed by purva sanskar and all that. Well, all of us are like Duryodhan. And Bhagwan is like the one who willingly goes. Swatma Maya. By his own Maya, he controls his own Maya and allows himself to be conditioned, and then takes on all of these various forms. That is Bhagwan. And you and I, well, we have no choice in the matter, you know. You were born there. Did you ask anybody? Did you fill out a form online to be born or to be living in Atlanta. No, we find ourselves like that. You see, wherever we were born and all. So he says, Sa eva maya parimohitatma. That reality only deluded by its own maya means allowing itself to be deluded by its own maya or conditioned by its own maya. What happened? Shariramastaya karoti sarvam. Dwells in this body now as a jiva and goes on doing. Now it has gotten arms and legs, so it can go on doing. But who is doing? Sa karoti. He is doing. This is from a certain standpoint we are talking. He's doing through this body. Because had he not been there, had that reality not been in this body, what the arms and legs will do? Nothing. You see? And now coming in this body and doing all things, he engages in all of these worldly materialistic things. What is that? Stri annapana di vichitra bhoga. He comes to this world and enjoys all the various type of bhoga. I mean vichitra bhoga. Vichitra bhoga means all amazing type of sensual enjoyments, indulgences like that. And examples are given from Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also used to tell this thing from the Upanishad. Only got wine, women, and wealth. He only enjoys it. And you can take that and switch it over to whichever gender and all that you want. But that thing, he engages in this thing. And here, panadi, heavy drink. So there's in this part of the world, say soft drink. And then I suppose the opposite of soft drink will be hard drink, because soft and hard will be there. Hard drink. So he engages in, and how in all of this, what you call that, COVID lockdown, the consumption of alcohol went up. Hard drink for hard times. So he engages in all of these type of worldly pleasures, and then what? He gets caught up here, and this is what they call as a pasha. Just now, pasham, ropes, because he's bound, and he helplessly now goes for this drink, helplessly goes for that drink, for so many things. He just goes on and on. It's amazing. I mean, without thinking, once we get caught with any of these worldly things, people just automatically go without thinking, isn't it? He gets up and he wakes up in the morning and walks straight to that whatever his desired thing is. Yes. Sa eva jagrat paritriptimeti. That same Brahman, same reality, which is now manifested in this body as a jiva and acting through this body and engage in all of these worldly things, by this spiritual practice can also become awakened, can also become jagrati, means awakened, means enlightened. And then only when he does that, he'll become tripta, santushta, satatam yogi. Santushta, tripta. Contented, satisfied. He wants nothing. Only when he becomes enlightened. Prior to that, what happens is, for some part of his life, he's satisfied with this thing. Then he moves from that part of his life to another stage in his life. Then he's satisfied with this thing. Balastavat krida saktaha. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. Vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. Like that. He's satisfied with different things at different stages in his life. And that there is no evolution in that. The ultimate evolution is called as mukti. Then only he becomes, you see, now he's playing with that ball. So he is tripped out with ball. Then he grows up. What ball? Taruna, no, only tripped out with Taruni. Then he goes from there. And so he just changes the object and he gets little bit of satisfaction, little bit of contentment as he is moving from stage to stage. He's getting little. Then he dies. And some people think after they die also they will get some santushta, some tushti, some satisfaction they will get. So he tells, when I die, I want you to bury me in this expensive coffin, comfortable coffin. Better yet, you put AC in that coffin. So like that, he thinks he'll be happy when he dies. So people have all sorts of thoughts. So anyway, there is no evolution. There's just punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. But one who becomes awakened to the reality, he becomes santushta, means become contented once and for all. That is the idea. Now, this jiva who is living in this body, he goes through these various states. Now, eventually he's going to tell about this enlightenment. But how did reality manifested as the body and also manifested as the jiva in the body? Both. The jada, deha, and as the chetan, antakarna, jiva in this side. He manifested as both. And now, since he has become identified with his body and thinking, he doesn't think I am Brahman anymore. He says, I am body. Dehatma buddhi, I am this body. All Brahman and all has gone out the door. I am this body. He goes through now various types of experiences and attachments, likes and dislikes, and so many things. So now, in a structured way, what all experiences he goes through. Now, who is going through? Saeva, same Brahman. Now identified body has become jiva and all that. And he's going through all of these experiences. Now see number 13. Swapne sajiva sukha dukkha bhokta.
Swapne sajiva sukha dukkha bhokta.
Swamayaya kalpita jiva loke.
Swamayaya kalpita jiva loke.
Sushupti kale sakale viline.
Sushupti kale sakale viline.
Tamo vibhuta sukharupameti.
Tamo vibhuta sukharupameti.
Swapne sa jiva sukha dukkha bhokta. See, sa jagrat. But there's also one same different verse in your book. The last line of number 12 I have here, sa eva jagrat paritriptimeti. That's number 12. The ending. 13 starts with swapne sa jiva. I have to bring that book. My glasses are here. No? Yeah, give. It's causing a little problem because this one has some different words and that one has some different words. Right. Swapne sa jiva sukha dukkha bhokta. In waking state, the jiva experiences all this waking world. In dream state, here now dream state. What is he experiencing? He's experiencing sukha and dukkha without experiencing any of this world. So in dream, what happens? All the impressions that he got from this waking world, he has them inside. And he takes bits and pieces of all of those impressions and he makes a whole new world now in his dream. This is what we do in dream. Dream is nothing but taking all the impressions that you have had from looking and seeing and tasting all of the things in this world. All of those impressions are inside. And not only in this lifetime, even past lifetime, because your impressions will be with you only. Your impressions cannot be with me. So all the impressions we have collected from so many lifetimes and all, we have it inside. That is why I see naturally, just naturally, without anybody doing anything or without experiencing anything in this lifetime, some people have claustrophobia. Some people have spider phobia. Some people have hydrophobia. People have all sorts of phobia, isn't it? Without having gone through any experience in this lifetime. This is because we are coming with that from some previous lifetime. All the impressions, they are there. So now when I go to sleep, impressions are caught in waking state. In dream state, now I go to sleep. And what I do, my mind takes all of the different impressions, piece of this and piece of this and pieces, and we concoct a whole new world in dream. So I've seen here an elephant. I've seen here an eagle. So here I take the wings from the eagle and I put it on the elephant in my dream. And then elephant is flying. Because the principle of flight is taken from the eagle. And here, the bigness of the elephant, a heavy animal. And then in my dream also, I only did it. The funny thing about dream, you know, one fellow got up in the morning and he's looking really sad. His father asked what happened. He said, well, last night I dreamt that I had a math exam and I failed. So he's sad. The first thing father said, in dream also you cannot pass. that is a different thing. But the ironic thing about that, in the dream, who is the one who made up the test exam? The same dreamer, he is the one who made up the exam and he failed his own exam. Isn't it? Because I did not make up your dream. But all impressions of the past I have in my mind, I took those impressions and I made my own math exam and I failed my own math exam. Oh, what a thing. So the person in the dream goes through sukha and dukkha based on all the things that he has concocted. That is what I told in the line there. Huh? Sukha dukkha bhokta. He is the experience of sukha and dukkha in dream. Swamayaya kalpita jiva loke. And it's all this is happening by the maya of the reality. Inherent maya, its own power. This is what is going on in us. Really, we are nothing but Brahman playing out his own Mayak Leela. That is all. Brahman playing out his own Mayak Leela. Then Sushuptikale Sakale Viline Tamo Vibhuta Sukha Rupameti. And in the Sushupti, last state now, what he goes through first, wake, then dream, last state at this level, that is called as Sushupti, means deep sleep. And in deep sleep, what is there? Sukha. Everybody loves deep sleep only because there is sukha. We enjoy. And therefore, when somebody poking and they are bugging it, hey, leave me alone. And we go back to sleep, isn't it? People love this sleep. And all creatures also, they love to sleep like anything. Huh? So these are the states which this jiva goes through one after the next. And I told you the last state that is called as Turiya state, is beyond dream, deep sleep, and waking and all that. It's called Turiya. Now, he continues. Brahmaji continues to Ashvalayana. Now see this. Look at writing on this book. Punascha janmantara karma yogat.
Punascha janmantara karma yoga.
Saeva jiva swapiti prabuddhaha.
Saeva jiva swapiti prabuddhaha.
Puratraye kridati yascha jivaha.
Puratraye kridati yascha jivaha.
Tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram.
Tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram.
Adharamanandam akhanda bodham.
Adharamanandam akanda bodham.
Yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha.
Yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha.
Punahacha janmantara karma yogat sa eva jivaha swapiti prabuddhaha. This now same reality was manifested as both this body and the jiva who is there living in this body and not who moves on from body to body. You know, he manifested as both. This reality now as jiva perchance he gets on the spiritual path. When we ask, how he got on the spiritual path? Well, we are only left to say perchance. He was maybe passing there, and he saw some satsang going on, and he went into that satsang, and then he sat there, and something caught his imagination or something, and from that day he started going. But then we say perchance, like, or Bhagavad Kripa, by Bhagavan's grace, he was passing there at that time when that thing was going on, or something, or some friend said, come, let us go there. So he gets on the spiritual path, and slowly he starts engaging in satsang and all of the different things, and he engages in spiritual type of karma, and then he becomes awakened from his dream. This jiva becomes awakened from his dream. Now only dream is given. So he becomes awakened from deep sleep or dream or waking state. He becomes awakened from which one of them? Prabuddha means he becomes awakened from dream and deep, waking state, because both of them like dream only. Waking state and dream state, they are not much different. Huh? See, look here. If you are sitting here and your mind is there, it means to say that your mind is not paying attention to what is really before you. This thing is before me, right? My mind is not paying attention to what is really before me. My mind is imagining what is there. So the moment my mind slips from the reality present before me to any other thought that is same as dream. If there's a reality before me and my mind is not engaging with that reality, and my mind has slipped away for a moment, it has gone into a dream state. Because why? It is engaging in an imaginary thing. I'm thinking what is behind that wall. I am imagining what is behind the wall. And imagination and dream is one and same. It's something concocted. So from the swapiti here, it means from dream meaning both the waking state and the dream state. He awakens from that. He's not awakened from when we awaken from the deep sleep state, we come to one of these two states. So because of good karma of many lifetimes now, somehow by chance he started somewhere in some satsangs and this thing, that thing, and met some teacher, met somebody who taught him some scriptures and this and all that. And then he moved up the spiritual ladder and becomes awakened by that good karma which he has done. Puratraye kridati yascha jivaha tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram adharam anandamakhanda bodham yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha. The jiva, while he is in this body, this is all the things that he goes through. He plays in the three puratraye kridati. He plays in the three cities. What three cities? Wake, dream, and deep sleep. He plays in those three. Tatahatu jatam sakalam vichitram. And all these things which he plays with, all of them were born from that reality only. So now see, reality is manifested as body and jiva in body. Okay. But the jiva plays with things in waking state. He likes this thing in waking state. He likes that thing in dream state. He plays with all the ideas and impressions. Those things also which he plays with, all of them emanated from or manifested from that same reality. So reality is here manifested and reality is the objects manifested. So reality playing with reality. Brahman is playing with Brahman. Puja Gurudev asked Swami Tapovanji Maharaj once, so we are talking about oneness. So what about now you are teaching me? So you are there and I am here. Because there's a teacher and taught. But Swami Tapovanji Maharaj said, no, you are teaching yourself. The question is coming from you, right? You are teaching yourself because you are seeing me, but you are seeing only your own self. So he's manifested as teacher and taught both. Reality is manifested as both. So this Brahman reality is as Jiva playing in the three cities of waking, dream, and deep sleep. Athaраmanandam akhandabodham yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha. And the reality remains unaffected, and it is the support for all the things which we are seeing. It is of the nature of anandam akhandabodham, infinite consciousness, infinite awareness, infinite bliss, unbroken, infinite bliss. That reality still remains as that. I'll give you an example. If the reality has manifested as all of this, the reality does not diminish in any way. We feel, the reality has manifested. Now he is in trouble. Now he's manifested. He has become less because part of him is manifested. Nothing has happened. See, if a snake appears on a rope, has the rope become less in any way? No, the rope was weighing 1 pound before, and a snake appears on the rope. Does the rope now weigh half a pound? It doesn't diminish in any way. This is all symbolically told in Ramayana and everywhere. Lord Shiva is telling Ramayana to Parvati ji in Kailash. And that Ramayana which he is telling is about the real life of Bhagwan Ram. At that time, Bhagwan Ram had also taken avatar there, and he was walking. And Bhagwan Shiva and Sati, they come to get darshan of Ram while he's walking in the forest. So, and Lord Shiva is telling the story there, and he's also playing a part as Hanumanji in the story. What a thing. So Lord Shiva is sitting there telling the story, and he's playing part in that story because his incarnation is Hanumanji. So now, since he is manifested here as Hanumanji, he does not disappear from there. He is there and here at one and the same time, and he doesn't get less when he is manifested. He's still there to tell Parvati ji the whole story. What an amazing feat of the reality. So reality is manifested as all the objects in the world, and as the Jiva who engages with or enjoys all of these objects also. Same reality is manifest, and then reality still remains all the same. Adharamanandam akhandabodham yasmin layam yati puratre. And into that reality, all things again merge into the reality. Now I'm telling you one more thing before we continue. See, here it is speaking about, you see, it was saying Sa Brahma, Sa Shiva, Sa Hari, Sendra, Sakala, Sogni, all of this. Sa in Sanskrit word, in Sanskrit language, Sa means he. So it is talking, he's third person, isn't it? He, she, it. That third person. So the Upanishad so far is talking about that reality in third person, he. It is he who has manifested as the Jiva. It is he who has manifested as all the objects which the Jiva interacts with. It is he who was he. So it seems to be remote. He. So I was telling you in between, we have to take, he has also manifested as this BMI to try to bring it closer. Pretty soon, this same Upanishad will change this thing from he to me, from third person to first person. In me, all things come. In me, all things stay. In me, all things dissolve. It will change the language. So this is the most important step in Upanishadic teaching. In Upanishadic teaching, if we don't change the person, means the language, from third person to first person, nothing happens. It only remains intellectual. If I keep it only, no, he. Acha, Brahman is like this. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana. And explain Brahman in countless different words, right? and it always remains third person, and we don't bring that to first person, and then nothing will happen. So here it is still in that third person, and he is Adharam, he is the support of both the objects which are enjoyed and the one who is enjoying. He is the support of both. And in nature is Anandam, Akhandabodham, and all of that sort of thing. Now, that reality which is being described is, now see, this will be number 15. Etasmad jayate pranaha.
एतस्मात् जायते प्राणः
Manasarvendriyani cha.
मनसर्वेन्द्रियाणि च
Kham vayurjyotirapaha.
अहं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः
Prithvi vishwasya dharini.
पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी.
The chanda bhanga they want. The chanda, one letter in the last line, 7 syllables and 9 syllables instead of 8 and 8. But we have to live with that. It's actually not chanda bhanga if you are chanting one whole line. Etasmat jayate pranaha manaha sarvendriyani cha. Now, from etasmat, from this reality, which we've just been speaking about, from that reality, what is born? Pranaha, all the 5. Prana, prana, pana, vyana, udana, samana, ityadi, which you all know, right? All those are born. Then mana, mind is born. Sarvendriyani, all senses are born. It is from that reality all our faculties are born. It means manifested. And we keep using all of these words, born and all of those things. It is from that reality is manifested. Kam vayu jyotirapaha prithvi, all the 5 elements. Now, the order in the verse is not the order in which they manifest. The order in which they manifest is first space, air, fire, water, earth, and then all the senses and all of that. Here in the verse, the order mind and senses come first. So one thing I'll tell you about Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language does not have order like English language. There's no order. Like, for example, the dog jumped over the cat, right? So if you've switched the word dog and cat, you switch them like this, then the meaning changes or not. The cat jumped over the dog. So in English language, you're not allowed to switch those words, because if you switch the words, you change the meaning. Sanskrit language is not like that. There is no order in words. You put any word anywhere, and the meaning does not change. So since Sanskrit language is structured like that, because mana and indriyani, they come first in the line, that does not mean to say in the evolution of them, they evolved first. Because there is no order in Sanskrit language. So what evolves first from that reality? Akasha sambhutaha, akashat vayu, vayu ragni, ragni rapaha, adbhya prithvi. Like that in the Taittiriya Upanishad is given that evolution. From that reality came space, from space, air, from air, fire from fire, water from water, earth. Like that. And now these, they undergo panchikarana and all you have studied. Splitting and recombining and all of that, panchikarana. They undergo like that. And then after they undergo this panchikarana, then now they form all the various types of things in the world. Jada and Chetan both. Right. So this is what is, see, whatever we study like that in our Vedanta, when you're studying Tattva Bodh, Bhagavan Shankaracharya just did not sit down there and make up Tattva Bodh. The Tattva Bodh came from the Upanishads only. The only thing is in the Upanishads, one verse will be there, some verse will be here, another verse will be there, everywhere. But Bhagavan Shankaracharya took it and put it in one proper order. Yes, that is all. So all the 5 elements came. Vishwasya dharini. and also the earth, which supports this, because I am not floating in space. I'm standing on an earth. So the earth supports all these jivas and all their activities and all the objects which the jivas interact with. All of it is supported by the earth. The earth is the one which is also manifested from that reality. Now see, he continues. We just have to wait until he shifts over to first person. The Upanishad becomes very interesting after that. Yat param brahma sarvatma.
Yat param brahma sarvatma.
Vishwasyayatanam mahat.
Vishvasyayatanam mahat.
Sukshmat sukshmataram nityam.
Sukshmat sukshmataram nityam.
Tattvameva tvameva tat.
Tattvameva tvameva tat.
Now see, it is getting interesting now. It is speaking all the time about Sabrahma, Sashiva, Sendra, Savishnu, Sogni. He is this, he's that. He has manifested as all of this. From him only space, air, fire, water, earth. From him only came all the mind and senses, antakarana, upati, all things. So it was speaking about he. So now this verse will be a sort of turning point. The he and the I will now be equated. See, slowly, after talking about he now come to me. So what is the relationship between me and he? Equated. Now seeing how nicely said. Yat param brahma. He who is that para brahma, supreme reality. Sarvatma, the atma, the self of all beings and all things. Vishwasyayatanam mahat, who is great and who is the abode of the entire Vishwa, the entire manifested universe. And the support, the adhar, the shthan of the whole entire perceptible universe, Vishwa. Sukshmat sukshmataram nityam, who is eternal and who is the subtlest of the subtle. Tat tvam eva. You are he and he is you. Now see, that is coming closer to me now. He is me and I am he. And how all wonderful words in Vedanta, I have to tell you. Yat param brahma. Brahma brihatvat iti brahma. Because it's big means all pervasive, means infinite, limitless. He called it Brahma. Limitless means with no boundaries. You have to think about space. So if you go out into space, right? And you go for 10 million light years out. After 10 million light years, you stop and then you think, how far more can I go? Well, you can go 10 million light years more if you want. Then after that second 10 million light years, you ask again, how far more can I go? Then how far can you go? No end. You have to think about infinity like this. Because see, the mind is finite. It's very difficult for the mind to imagine infinity. But you have to keep doing this type of exercises. On and on, infinitely you can go with no end. And there will be space. And that space will need some aadhar, some support. So the support makes the space exist. So its aadhar or support is existence. And that is still Brahman. And there is no end in either any direction. So brihatva, because it is that infinite. Yat param, that which is that infinite Brahma, which is Sarvatma. Sarvatma means it is the self of all things. All beings and things. Self of all beings and things means that thing without which that object cannot exist. Any object you take, right? This is just, you see now, is a glasses case. The glasses case. Okay. Now, it is made from plastic, I think. Let us say. So without plastic, can this glasses case exist? Yes. It can exist because you can make it out of wood. You can make it out of leather. You can make it. So you can have glasses case existing without plastic. Right? But can you have glasses case existing without existence? That is not possible. Because the plastic has to first have existence. The plastic which I made it from, that plastic has to first exist. So only when there's existence of the plastic, then I can make glasses case. So if it remove existence, nothing will be there. Like from this pot, if I remove clay, nothing will be there. So clay is the self of the pot, without which that pot cannot exist. And in the same way, the self of this universe is existence. Without that existence, nothing in this universe, no universe will be there. So therefore, Sarvatma, it is that Brahman is the self of the whole universe, of all things. Vishwasya ayatanam, the abode of, you see, it is like how space is the abode for all the planets. Where are all the planets and the sun and all the various celestial bodies? They're all in space, isn't it? They're all floating in space. So we are floating also in space. So space becomes the ayatana. Ayatana means the abode, the home, where everything rests. So here it is Brahman is the home for everything. Everything rests in Brahman. And you call it Mahat, great, greater than the greatest thing that you know. Mahat means great. In next one, Sukshmat Sukshmataram. He is subtler than the subtlest. Now, the Sukshma word in Sanskrit is, these are very technical things you have to study. Huh? You don't miss them. I'll tell you what is Sukshma. I've explained this to you already, but I know I can count on your forgetfulness. See this thing. You can see it, right? So it means one sense organ can perceive. Then you can hear it also. So second sense organ can perceive this thing. Then you can smell. Third sense organ can also. Then you can taste if you want. Fourth, then a touch is smooth. So 5 sense organs can perceive this thing. This thing is called a gross. Because all 5 sense organs can perceive. Now, we put this thing down. In this room, there is air. Can you see the air? No. We cannot see the air. Can I taste the air? No. Air actually can be perceived only by 2 sense organs. One, touch. I can know the air is warm or the air is cold. And I can hear the air is ruffling or it is silent or like that. Only 2 sense. In other words, there are some things in the world where all 5 sense organs can perceive, and there are some things in the world where only a limited number of sense organs can perceive. So what you have then is a spectrum from all 5 sense organs to lesser and lesser sense organs. In the case of air, only 2. In the case of space, only 1. as you move from 5 sense organs to lesser number of sense organs, that thing becomes subtler and subtler. This is the meaning of sukshma. Sukshmatvam is described as or defined by the number of sense organs that can perceive that thing. So all 5, that is the grossest thing, the least sukshma. Only one, space. Only the air can perceive space, our air. Only one sense organ. So space is way subtler than this object. Now, you go beyond space, because space has come from that reality. Space has that reality as its aadhar or support. If space is so subtle, what about its aadhar, its adhishtan, its substratum? How subtle that will be? Then no sense organ could perceive. Therefore, that thing is called as sukshmat sukshmataram. It is the subtlest of the subtle, subtler than the subtlest thing which we know. So this now, like this, all the words which you see, sukshmataram or sukshmatvat, sukshmatvam, the sukshma word you have to study like this. And oh, and that reality is part of me. It means to say, in me there will be gross things, and as I go deeper and deeper and deeper inside, I will now encounter the subtlest of the subtle. Because inside of me, see, first my brain. The brain you can put under a microscope, isn't it? Brain you can put under a microscope. So 5 senses will perceive brain. But in the brain, there are chemical reactions. So you'll be able to perceive some of them. But then there is thought going on. So under a microscope, you will see thought. You can't see thought under a microscope, isn't it? So now those thoughts will be also some gross and some subtler and subtler and subtler thoughts. Like the thought of a cow. You think a cow in my mind. That will be a grosser thought. Now thought of dukkha, sorrow. See, cow will have shape, color. I saw a cow over there, black and white cow, and it gives milk. So that the mind can conceive of various aspects of that cow. But if I say dukkha, which is sorrow, now how the mind will grapple with that type of thought? That is a subtler type of thought. There are no demarcations and no color. What is the color of sorrow? We don't know, you see. Color of sorrow or not. So even in thought now, there are some thoughts which are more gross and some thoughts which are more subtle. Or what is the thought of silence? Or if I hear silence in my mind, if I hear silence, that is a very subtle thought, isn't it? Like that, we can go deeper and deeper, listening to more and more subtle things or perceiving subtler and subtler things in the mind. And the subtlest of the subtle inside, that is called as this Brahma, Paramatma, Brahma, Param Brahma, all the characterizations are given here. Nitya, it is called as Nitya. Nitya means eternal. It was there, is there, and will always be there. There is no time when God was not there or reality was not there. Nitya, eternal, always there. Because people ask question, oh, this whole universe came from Brahman. Where did Brahman come from? People ask that question, you know. Where did Brahman come from? But Brahman is called, we saw yesterday also, he is Swarat. Swarat word we saw. Self-existing, self-luminous, always there by itself. It means it is the thing which is always there, which did not come into being, nor can it go out of being. That is the idea. That is called as Nityam, always there. And now the last phrase in this verse, very important phrase now. What is slowly coming is the equation between that, what we are talking about, and one's own self. He says, Tattvam Tat Tvam Eva. You yourself are that. And now it has come from third person and added second person, you. Because you is second person. Tat Tvam Eva. That you are. Tvam Eva Tat. You are that. That you are and you are that. So it is still telling you. Getting slowly from third person, now it's introduced second person. But pretty soon, it is going to come to first person. See? I see the scriptures also teach, that we have to very slowly. And yesterday, oh no, this morning only I told you, you don't worry, you're not going anywhere. What happened? People make us feel too stressed out, and they put so much of urgency and so much of seriousness. Oh my God, if I don't get mukti in this life, what will happen? It's like I have lost everything. That type of urgency is not required. And you don't worry, you take your time and see the Upanishad also moving very slowly. It was talking all the time third person, now introduce second person. Don't get too anxious. When it is going to tell first person? I can't wait. This is American. I can't wait. American language. So just have patience. Yes, patience is a virtue, they say. So Tvameva. Now what is Tvam? Tat and Tvam. Tat has been described, all of this. Tat is that reality is being described so far. Sabrahma Shiva, Sendraha, like that. Or that reality, which is Nityam, which is just described as Sarvatma. They're called Tat. Now what is Tvam? Tvam is the individual being. Now the individual being is made up of basically three parts, means is gross part, then emotional part, is heart, then intellectual part. So those three, then those three are being enlivened, illuminated, they are being consciousized. By what? By that. When that reality acts through these upadhis, that reality is reflecting in these upadhis. That reality changes its status from that to you. From tat to tvam. That reality is called a tat. When it is reflecting in this upadhi, it changes its status from tat to tvam. Now, let me give you an example. Just outside here, right? The door is only 6-7 feet from where I'm sitting. And there's nice bright sunlight outside. So I take a bucket of water and I put it outside there. And then I go and look inside that bucket. I'll see the sun or not. I'll see that sun inside the bucket, isn't it? With a bucket full of water. Okay. Now, if I withdraw that bucket here inside the room and I look there, I'll not see that round sun, the blinding sun, isn't it? There on the ground, I'll not see it. But I don't introduce the bucket of water again, and now I'm seeing that round, nice, blinding sun inside that bucket. When I introduce the bucket with water, I am actually introducing an upadhi in which the sun can reflect. I take it out, I'm introducing an upadhi in which that sun can nicely reflect. I take it away, then the sun has nothing to reflect in. So, in the same way, this BMI is like the bucket of water, and that reality reflects in this BMI. It makes the BMI come alive. Right? Now there, when I put the bucket outside and I look inside the bucket, I see a nice sun there. Now, from one standpoint, that is the same sun in the sky. And from another standpoint, it is a different sun, isn't it? Because the sun in the bucket will not burn me. But if I, the story in Ramayana, when some party and the Jatayu, they were going to the sun, and when they got closer, they got burnt, all their feathers. So the sun in the sky will burn me, the one in the bucket if I touch. So from that standpoint, but they are different. But from the standpoint of light, the sun in the sky and the sun in the bucket is one and same. Because if I have the bucket there and that sun is shining down, and I just take something and I block like this, what will happen to the sun in the bucket? Gone. That proves that they both were one. What I did I cut off by putting this thing. So from another standpoint, from this standpoint, they are one and same. Sun in the bucket and sun in the sky. So from that standpoint, it's telling tat tvam. In this upadhi, that reality is reflecting. So from one standpoint, they are different. But here, the one who is acting is powerless, or his power is, restricted. Like I can only lift this thing, Some people can only lift the heaviest thing in their plate of food. So all my powers are curtailed. So from that standpoint, myself and the reality, where he's infinite, I'm finite, and all of that. So from that standpoint, different. But from the standpoint of awareness or consciousness, the reality here and the reality there is one and same. From the standpoint of existence and consciousness, same one reality. Just like the bucket and the sun in the bucket and sun in the sky. From one standpoint, same. From another standpoint, different. You see? It is the whole thing about standpoints in Vedanta is very, very important. Huh? I'll tell you what has happened to our minds. You have been educated, the type of education you have received, which all of us have received. We have been educated to think that only one standpoint is right. And all other standpoints, they are wrong. That is a big problem in our education system. And this actually has a Western Christian slant. A Western Christian slant. See, only that religion and that teaching is right. Every other teaching or every other thing is wrong. That thing crept into the education system, and the education system also teaches now this standpoint. See, America and all the people on this side are right. All the people on that side and terrorists, they are terrorists. So we can only see from the education system trains like that. But the education system had its origins, its rudiments in religion. That's how it came about. But this thing about standpoints is a very, very important thing. You have to start thinking that the way I see things is only one way of seeing things. Huh? For example, people, go on making all sorts of blanket statements. You cannot have, or something cannot be right and wrong at the same time. Either it is right or it is wrong. That is a purely Western characterization of things. I think from one standpoint, something can be right, and from another standpoint, the same thing can be wrong. So this thing, it is absolutely right, and it could never be wrong, or it is absolutely wrong, and it can never be right. There is no such thing in Hinduism. These are pure Western things. So I'm introducing you to a very important idea or concept which you have to start to internalize, and that is trying to internalize what is standpoint. This is simply taught even in Hindi films. I remember a long time ago in some Hindi film. Look at this. Amitabh Bachchan was sitting here, and I don't remember who was sitting on that other side of the table. So they were having some discussion. Then he wrote on his hand, number 6. 6. Then he says, I'm writing number 6. Now, what do you see? If you remember the name of that film, you please tell me. But it is there in some of his film. Huh? When that fellow looked, he's seeing 9. When he looks, he's seeing 6. Now, who is right? Both are right only, isn't it? No right or wrong. No, one is not right and one is wrong. Either both are right or both are wrong only. So this thing about seeing from a different perspective or from a different angle, this is a very, very important thing in Vedanta, and it will come up again. So from one standpoint, the Jiva and Paramatma, they are different. From a different standpoint, Jiva and Paramatma are one and same. From the standpoint of existence, consciousness, they are one and same. From standpoint of capability, power, freedom, all of these things, size, extent, pervasiveness, they are different. Brahman is all pervasive. See, that's why I say Jiva is Alpa Shaktiman, Alpagnya, Alpa Vyapi, and Ishvara is Sarva Vyapi, Sarva Shaktiman, Sarvagnya, like that. So this is from pervasiveness and power and knowledge and all of that. Jiva is Alpa and Ishvara is Sarva. But from point of view of existence and consciousness, but I exist, and you cannot have two types of existences. I exist, every iota of me exists, and Ishvara also exists. And existence is only one type. And I am also conscious, aware. Bodha Swarupa, my nature. Because I know that I know, and I know that I don't know also. So my nature is knowing only. So Bodha Swarupa, and Ishvara's nature is also Bodha Swarupa, pure Chit. This is the idea. Huh? So from this standpoint, we are one and same. From another standpoint, different. And the two can exist at one and the same time. The universe is constructed like that. Huh? Universe is constructed in such a way that the pairs of opposite exist in the same thing at one and the same time. In every atom, there is positive and also negative at the same time. Okay. All right. So now we will stop there, and we will, now you have further classes in the afternoon, and we will pick up this Kaivalya Upanishad tomorrow morning. But this evening we will have our Kabir Bani as usual. Okay. All right. Anybody going to do announcements, and then we'll have closing prayer?
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you so much. Yeah. I'm going to do an announcement about Guru Dakshina. Like Swamiji has been teaching us in Vedanta, Upanishadic studies are always done between Guru and Shishya. And we are learning about Kaivalya Upanishad, which was taught to Ashwalayana by Brahmaji. We are so lucky to bask in presence of Swamiji and learn about our true nature. The highest sadhana, Swamiji is teaching us about meditation and the means. Thank you, Swamiji. We are so lucky. There is not a price. This is priceless knowledge that we are getting from Swamiji. This helps us to live our lives meaningfully. And for that, we should be very thankful and offer our kritagnyata by offering Guru Dakshina. And we have link for Guru Dakshina, which is up here that you can offer. And we will also put it in the chat. So you can click on that. We will send you the link in email also. So please open your hearts and offer Guru Dakshina for this priceless knowledge that we are receiving from Swamiji. Hari Om Swamiji. And again, if you have any questions about what we are learning, please email it to yagnya@chinmayatlanta.com, or you can send it to Krishnamurti ji in chat also. And like Swamiji said, that in Shastras, they talk about moksha and sadhana. Swamiji is talking about the sadhana, highest sadhana, and our Shivaji is going to talk about moksha and throw some lights on the means to attain moksha.
Very
So
good.
please join us again at 3 p.m. for satsang with Shivaji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.